All right, let's dive into the art of web scraping. Today, we're going to demystify how you can pull valuable data from pretty much any website. And it's not just about the tools, it's about adopting a really powerful new mindset. Let's get right into it. You've totally been here before, right? You're staring at a web page just packed with information, but trying to grab only the specific bits you need feels impossible. It's like looking for a needle in a digital haystack. How do you actually find that clean, structured data that's buried inside all the visual chaos? Well, the secret is a mental shift. You have to stop looking at websites like a regular user and start approaching them like a detective arriving at a crime scene. This data detective mindset, that's what separates a frustrating, failed attempt from a successful data mission. So here's our case file for today. First, we'll frame the investigation. Then we'll get into the difference between summary and evidence, how to collect clues the right way, find those hidden paths to data, validate our findings, and finally, we'll put it all together in your new detective toolkit. Okay, first things first, framing the investigation. Every good detective knows you need a solid plan before you start dusting for prints, and it's the exact same thing with data. So here's the setup. I want you to think of every single website as a unique scene. Sometimes it's neat and tidy, other times it's a total mess. But no matter what it looks like, hidden inside are the clues, those specific pieces of data you're looking for. Your job, your mission, is to systematically find and bag those clues without messing them up. And that brings us to a really fundamental principle for any data detective. You have got to understand the difference between the summary and the actual evidence. This is such a crucial distinction. What you see in your browser, the pretty layout, the nice fonts, all the images, that's just a summary. It's a user-friendly presentation. The real evidence, the raw, unfiltered truth, is hiding in the HTML source code. That's where our investigation really begins. And this right here is our first huge takeaway. If you remember one thing, remember this. Don't trust the summary. Always go straight to the evidence, which is the HTML. That is rule number one for being a data detective. Okay, so now we know where to find the clues. Let's talk about how to collect them. This is a spot where a lot of investigations and a lot of scrapers go completely wrong. The right way to do it is to be methodical. First, you isolate just one clue, a single piece of data, like a product name or a price. Second, you extract that one thing all by itself, cleanly. It's only after you've gathered all your individual clues separately that you even think about combining them into a full record. So why is this such a big deal? It's all about resilience. See, if you try to grab a whole chunk of information at once and just one little piece is missing or broken, your whole process can crash. But if you extract narrowly and one clue is missing, no big deal. You still have all the others. It makes your work so much more robust. Now let's build on that idea. Sometimes the most valuable clues aren't the most obvious ones. A really good detective knows how to find the hidden paths. The visible text you see on a web page? That's just the start. The truly reliable clues, the good stuff, is often tucked away in HTML attributes that users never even see. I'm talking about things like class names, special data attributes, or ID tags. They often contain perfectly clean, structured data that's just waiting for you to grab it. And that's our next key insight. Don't just scrape what's visible on the screen. The most valuable, the most stable, and frankly, the easiest data to grab is often sitting right there in those seemingly boring attributes. That's where the pros look. So, you've collected your evidence. The case is almost closed. But listen, there is one final, absolutely critical step: validation. You have to make sure your clues are solid. And validation is just a fancy word for checking your work. It's the process of making sure that the data you collected is actually what you think it is. Is that price really a number? Is that email address in the right format? Because without this step, your whole investigation could be built on bad evidence. Now, good validation doesn't mean checking every single thing. It should be selective. Just focus on the most important clues. It has to be logged, so you have a clear record of what worked and what didn't. And finally, it should be boring. And by boring, I mean it should be an automated, predictable, totally reliable process that just runs every single time without any drama. So there you have it. We've gone through the whole investigative process. Now let's assemble all these ideas into your official data detective toolkit. Here it is, the 4 core principles for any data investigation. Number 1, remember,
HTML is the evidence, not what you see in the browser. 2. Follow the process. Extract narrowly first, combine later. 3. Use the technique of finding hidden paths in those boring attributes. And 4. Always do quality control by validating your clues.
With this framework, you're not just scraping data anymore. You're conducting an investigation. You've got the mindset, and you've got the tools to pull back the curtain on the web and uncover the real evidence hiding inside. So I guess the only question left is, what mysteries are you going to solve first?